Hard to imagine that was 14 years ago. And still, obesity keeps getting worse in America, except now you can't talk about it the same way. Don't say obese. America's changing language around weight, writes Axios. Now people have obesity as if it's an outside disease, like having cancer. If you have whiplash, so do we. Just a few years ago, fat was fabulous, and telling people to lose weight was body shaming. Dr. Gail Saltz, psychiatrist, psychoanalyst, clinical associate professor of psychiatry, New York Presbyterian, is with us now. Doctor, it's good to see you. I understand the idea of not sort of shaming people or making them feel bad. You don't ever want to embarrass anybody. That said, is there any evidence that how we talk about this and changing the way we talk about it makes people healthier?
Yes, and the evidence really, it started earlier with psychiatry, with my field. And that is, for example, we found that saying somebody is an addict as opposed to has an addiction stigmatized them. And for example, in the opioid epidemic, we found that those people that you called an addict and made them feel shamed for it, which it went along with, caused them to not seek care, to feel terrible about themselves. And we know that people who become depressed and feel bad about themselves do more poorly in terms of health, and they don't seek health care. So I think extrapolating, basically, we're saying that a name that you call someone that has a pejorative sense to it, right, that is stigmatizing, is going to make them feel badly about themselves. It's going to make them feel perhaps depressed, wish to hide, not wish to go seek a doctor or health care. And that's not good for their health.
Okay, I guess the flip side to that would be when you destigmatize something, it becomes more acceptable. Doubling the number of kids who have anxiety. We decided to destigmatize kids having anxiety. Everybody was invited to feel however they wanted to feel, and you doubled that. You talked about addiction. The opioid epidemic is worse than ever now. There is no more stigma about it, and the obesity rate in America is up from 19.7%, up from 30%, I should say, a couple of years ago to 41% now of Americans. So is destigmatizing everything really helpful?
Well, what you're talking about are not cause and effect. You're talking about correlations. So yes, it's a period in time.
How do we know that, though?
Because no one's been able to show the cause and effect. We can show, however, that the name calling does have an effect. What causes the rise in obesity isn't lack of shame. Let's put it that way. Shame was not controlling obesity. Obesity, we've discovered, is a medical illness, and really informing people that if they have a very high weight, a medically unhealthy amount of fat, if you want to put it that way, that it causes things like diabetes and heart disease and other real problems in health. And that is the way that we are going to message to people that it is not worth it, let's say, that it's important to get the health care so that you don't suffer the health consequences of being clinically obese. And changing language to destigmatize helps people to be able to come out and talk with their doctor about it or seek out the kind of care.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And also allows people to not perhaps just sort of give up hope in a way. Doctor, it's always good to see you. Thank you. We always appreciate your perspective. It makes us think about things. Thank you. It's good to see you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.